Hey, greetings everyone. Welcome to another edition of Before I Do here on the Couples Academy Network. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
All right. So we are your Couples Academy practitioners, and it is our honor and privilege to present to you Before I Do. So whether you are dating, engaged, don't know if you want to be married, single, we are here to facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
That's right. And if you just heard those voices, great, because we did as well. But no, this show is meant to be interactive. So absolutely, when we pose to speak now or forever hold your peace, we don't want you to hold your peace. We want you to speak. We want you to engage with us. We want you to share your experiences. So make sure that you weigh in. Let us know your experiences, your thoughts, and or your ideas.
If you're just joining us, we have been talking about for the past few weeks dating after divorce or breakup. We talked about the first week as far as how to know when you're emotionally ready to date after a breakup or a divorce. Last week, we talked about the physical signs that you're ready to re-engage with dating. And now we want to take that in step further with talking about how do you make the choices of who you date when you get ready to date again? So the question becomes, is there a fear of more of the same? And so we want to actually start with our speak now question, and we definitely want to hear your feedback on when you're getting back into dating after a divorce or a breakup. Do you look for, and most people fall into one of these three categories, do you look for dating someone who was more of the same of what you've experienced? Do you look for someone or something that is completely different? Or are you looking, or are you being intentionally open and down for whatever? And then tell us, what are your factors that you consider in your decision of which three of these paths that you go on? So Charmaine, when you think about these three particular paths that people usually take when it comes to dating and re-engaging, would you agree that usually it's one of these three?
I absolutely agree with this. I think it's really powerful to know, and I strongly believe in patterns of behavior and really tracking that, but most importantly, you tracking your own patterns of behavior. So for you, do you learn best from the examples or the non-examples? And what I mean is, when you walk away from a relationship or a relationship ends, do you learn more from the negative things that you experienced and were exposed to, or do you learn more from the positive things? Are you a person that builds on the positive, or definitely allows those negative experiences to shape your future decisions and choices?
I know for me, when I was dating, long, way before we got married, but when I was dating, I was very adamant about not necessarily looking for more of the same, but I really believe in my values and my principles. And I try to be really self-effacing as it relates to, and doing the self-reflection of understanding that the person that I was involved with, that it wasn't just them, it wasn't just all their fault. There were some things that I could have done differently. There were some maturity issues potentially on my part. So I know that for me, it was this idea of more of the same, not necessarily the same person, but looking for the same type of values and qualities and making sure that I was adhering to those things correctly.
And I love that you said that, because that's what I was thinking about. Yes. So more of the same. Okay. I will admit, when I first started dating, I wasn't really sure what to look for, right? And I think maybe when you're just being exposed to dating, depending on what access you have and things like that, and your culture and your background, you might look for the external factors or the internal factors. And what you just spoke of were looking for values. And so the challenging part is, you don't really get to the values until you have had some, so a few encounters with a person to know what their value system are. Back in the day, we talked on the phone because, that's what you had to do to really access somebody. Nowadays, you don't have to really do as much of that. But, I think that I look for a lot of the same intrinsic values, but the external part, I was somewhat open to that. I said somewhat, because I realized I had some limitations. Some people, they're limited by, this person doesn't believe the same They don't have the same spiritual beliefs I do, so deal breaker, done. Or I want to date someone that looks like me. So maybe you want a race or ethnicity to be similar. And so sometimes those things can be some parameters that you set on what you want, need, or or attracted to. And those external factors play a role in sometimes what you're getting. Or I like me a man that's in uniform. I like a military man, or or somebody that's in a fraternity or a sorority. Like, we all have those things that we might necessarily be drawn to, but I don't know that I have a type.
Well, and I was just going to say that you hit on a really interesting point, because there are some people who will date the same person in a different body, or will date different people in the same body, meaning that they have a specific type. They have a specific type, and they are so committed to that type that they have different experiences, but they're really with the physically like the same type of person, because they seem to be more committed to, I really like a person with this length of hair, this particular skin complexion that has this body type. And so and again, that's your preference. But then there are those of us who are so committed to, again, some of the intrinsic values and those characteristics, where it's like, I'm having some of these same experiences, but in different body type, with different people. And so I know for me, that was my experience. And so part of the challenge, what I found, is that the experience and the lessons that I learned is that it was really me, as far as the maturity of not necessarily being ready for the things that I really said that I wanted, and understanding what those things were requiring of me. When we say that we want certain things, what we don't really come to the realization of is that there is a requirement from us. We will put obligations on these individuals. I want this person has to have this, and this person has to have that, and this person needs to have this together and that. Well, what is the obligation for you? Because when you're obligating someone, you're also too obligating and making yourself responsible for some things to yourself, even if it's not just to that person.
Right. If you say you want something, one, are you ready? First of all, are you ready completely to get the very thing that you say that you want? And, are you a leader in the very thing? You don't want to operate in hypocrisy, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to operate in, okay, I'm looking for this exact thing. And it doesn't mean you have to live out everything you're looking for, but it definitely means that, your value system should align with your expectations.
You're tuned into Before I Do. Tonight, we're talking about dating after divorce. And our Speak Now question of the night, once again, is, when getting back into dating after a divorce or a breakup, do you look for more of the same?
Talk to us.
Are you looking for someone or something completely different, a whole unique, different experience? Or are you intentionally open and down for whatever? You just like, hey, whatever. And so when you think about your decision, what factors do you consider in the path that you choose and that you make? We're asking you to put your experiences and your comments and your feedback in the comments section. We are going to read those. We're going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Before I Do. Tune in, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Hey, welcome back to Before I Do, everyone. Tonight we are talking about dating after divorce. Are you interested in more of the same, someone or something completely different, or are you intentionally open and down for whatever? And then what factors are considered in your particular decision? Want to give a shout out to Quita B. Quita says she is down with option B. She is looking for someone or something completely different. All right. So, LaQuita, if you want to tell us exactly why you're looking for someone or something completely different, we'd appreciate it. So, for those of you out there that are listening, we want to hear your feedback as well. So, let us know option A, option B, or option C, and why. And while you're doing that, we also want to let you know that while you're thinking about dating and getting back out there, we have an amazing event that is going to be taking place on Saturday, October the 7th. It is the Couples Academy Phoenix Awards Gala. It is a night of love and relationships and just networking as well. It's going to be a great opportunity to have a night of celebrating and getting together. It will be held in Alpharetta, Georgia. And so for more information, you can go to couplesacademy.com. And yeah, we're going to be there and excited about it.
We're going to be there. There's going to be great experiences, again, networking, performances, an opportunity to meet our CEOs, Danielle and Hassani. You will be in the room with the gurus and this work that we do. And so super excited about that, and to meet the entire team. Like we're just one team, one piece of the Couples Academy family. And so you get to meet all the gurus from all over these United States will be in the room that night. And so we want you to be there with us. So get excited about it and join us. See us in living color.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing night. So whether you're dating, whether you're married, engaged, whatever condition, whatever state you find yourself in, it is going to be an absolutely amazing night and a great experience. But getting back to tonight's topic, once again, we're talking about dating after divorce or breakup. And so you're ready to date. So now it's what choice do I make? Do I choose more of the same? Am I looking for something completely different experience? Or am I just like, hey, whatever, I'm just opening them down for whatever. So what we are here to do is not to judge you or tell you what to do, but to share with you the potential pros and cons for each one of those paths. And so for more of the same, if for you, you're like, you know what, I'm good with my morals, my values, my principles, and I'm just looking for it more of the same. So some of the pros is that it is familiar. So when you're looking for more of the same, you're again, you know exactly what you want. You're familiar with that. And that leads to comfortability, you being comfortable with exactly what it is that you want. Now, on the flip side of that, when it comes to the negative aspect of it, is that it is contemptuous. There is a statement that says familiarity breeds contempt. That means the closer and the more frequency that you have with something, then you don't just remain enamored with the beauty of it. It is also recognizing all the various sides of it, the bumps, the bruises, and all of it. And so you can end up loathing something that you initially loved. And then it can often be limiting and boring as well.
Absolutely. You want to be careful with, again, it's great if the same are those internal things, those things that they align with your morals, your values, those internal things that are probably going to be lifetime commitments that you have to yourself and your belief system, right? But what happens when that familiarity also can become a trigger? It can become, now you're seeing the face of your ex on the face of your present, right? And potential future, right? And so we don't want to put ourselves in a place where if they're too similar externally and internally, right? Meaning with their value systems, man, it can almost seem like deja vu, and you can find yourself giving them consequences for things that they didn't even do.
Absolutely. And that's a great point.
All right. And so our next one, if you find yourself being interested in going the opposite direction, you want something completely different. Yes. I mean, it can provide adventure. It can provide an opportunity for you to grow and stretch. And I will admit, I love looking up the big 8 when it comes to diversity. So let's think about this. You date someone that's completely different. When we have you outline the 8 different areas of diversity, I'm talking about race. I'm talking about just culture, right? Things that are opposite of your culture, whether it's race, whether it's age. So this could look one or two ways.
Mhm.
So maybe you're used to dating people that are in your age, what is it, in your age decade, right?
Right.
And so if you're in your 30s, maybe you're used to dating people in your 30s. If you are interested in dating someone completely different, when we look at the big A in diversity, it's a variety of things. It's religion, it's age, it's ethnicity, it's gender, it's a bunch of different things, right? And so yeah, maybe if you're in your 30s, are you open to dating somebody in their 40s or their 50s or their 20s? Maybe you're gonna go lower than your decade, range that you're in. And so just thinking about those things, right? Maybe if you continue to date people from Florida or you continue to date people from California, maybe you want to switch it up and date someone from a different state, someone who has a different experience and broader perspectives. Maybe you want to date international. Okay. So when we think about completely different, it can be adventurous and it can be a growth opportunity.
Yeah, and I wanted to shout out Laquita. We asked her to give a explanation as to why with this particular option, and she did say that she feels that dating or being with someone different opens doors for new perception, how to love, and morals and growth. So it does provide, again, a growth opportunity when you look at dating someone completely different, whether that's age, whether that's ethnicity, whether that is even from a religious standpoint. So all of those different things do open you up for that. However, as with everything, there is a flip side to that. So some of the potential cons that are associated with dating someone completely different is that it may provide a moral and ethical conflict. So they may subscribe to certain things that completely go against your morals and your ethics. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to go along with it? Or are you going to push back? Or are you going to woo them and persuade them to come on the side of what you believe? And then maybe it becomes, again, some contention between the two of you because of the potential morals and ethics that are involved. And also, it may be a threat to cultural and situational awareness. Now, when we get used to culturally going certain places, certain conduct, certain behavior, I know how different things move, so I can anticipate when something is about to pop off. I can anticipate when something is potentially about to happen. What if I'm in a different situation culturally, or I'm in a totally foreign situation? I've got to trust this person that I am with, that they are going to have my well-being in mind, because I may not necessarily be familiar with that particular situation or that culture. So it really can be a threat to what we know and what we're comfortable with when we find ourselves experiencing something different.
Absolutely. I mean, culture plays a huge role in the relationship process. We all have that we have that surface level culture, things that are easy to see and experience and you can kind of recognize, right? However, there's that deep rooted culture, things that you wouldn't know unless you were exposed to them. You live with somebody, you really had those intimate moments with them. And so unfortunately, that piece, the threat to the cultural or situational awareness, if you're dating someone that might be outside of your, let's say, your economic class, right? Let's say you're upper middle class and this individual is like, they're, I don't know, maybe one of you came from a very wealthy background, right? And then the other person, maybe you're low income, and you just getting yourself in. There may be certain things that in those social settings that are a cultural norm that your partner might not be aware of. And it's an opportunity for growth. But then if you don't set them up for success, it can also be very deflating and things like that. So,
and to your point, part of my day job is I actually work with college students. And one of the things that I have the privilege of doing is helping them to learn professional etiquette and professional development. And so for a lot of them, they learn as it relates to what's the difference between the salad fork and the dinner fork and the dessert fork. Is the bread and is the drink to the left mine or the drink to the right mine? Which bread is mine? And so all of those things things, again, are a part of that cultural and situational awareness. And it is a part of us being a lifelong learner.
Absolutely.
So it's important that when you decide, if you decide to experience something completely different, first of all, you want to make yourself a student of it first. You want to investigate it on your own. Secondly, you want to ensure that the person that you are exploring these things with, that they are going to be considerate of you, and that there's someone that you can trust to, again, have your best interest in mind as you're exploring these things. So be very careful, not just diving headfirst into the deep end with someone. Make sure that they are the right person to actually explore these things with.
Yeah, and I mean, especially, and I just will use this as an example, one example, right? Culture is not only race, it's
Right.
the way of life, right? But you know, even when you start dating different you know, let's say you have an interracial couple, right? You want to make sure that you're willing to be, like you said, a number one student of your partner. And so, well, you know, if you get upset with your partner, well, I'm going to call the police. Well, wow, depending on the background of your partner, that could be a serious threat, right? And some people would say, well, okay, well, no, the police, they're there to help you, they're there to do this and that. You're right. Culturally, that might be your experience, you know, but to another individual from a different background, they may not have had that same experience and exposure that's safe. Maybe that's not the first line of safety for another individual. And so just things like that are very powerful. So yes, it can provide a wonderful growth opportunity on the positive side, but then sometimes there's threats when you don't allow for those really deep rooted, intimate conversations to occur and those growth moments to happen.
Absolutely. All right. And lastly, so you've decided that you're ready to date again. And you said, you know what? I am open and I am down for whatever, for whomever, whatever comes. I'm like the wind, which means that I'm just flexible. I'm free. And that allows me to be in a place in a spirit of just fun.
Sometimes this is a great place to be in, right? If you audit, oh my gosh, if you sit down and you audit all of the people that you've dated, what are the patterns? And I want you to think about the patterns. Are all of the people that you have dated, are they of the same race? The same ethnicity? Are they always in your same age group? Are they always from, I don't know, the northern states in North America? Southern states, the Caribbean, international, like, do you have a pattern? And so sometimes if you want to interrupt,
ring the bell. That's a good one. I like that. Do you have a pattern?
Do you have a pattern? And so if you are this individual, you're ready for something new, something fresh, something to just, I want to be exploratory. I want to get outside of my pattern. The first thing you have to do is recognize what is your pattern.
Yeah. And I want to say something too. This is a great opportunity, especially if you have like close friends, people that you trust and love. This is a great chance to empower them to help you identify what your pattern is, because you may not necessarily be able to identify it, but those close to you can. I'll never forget one of the last conversations that I had with my brother is that I had a conversation with him about a pattern that he had when it came to dating. And he hung up on me, and then he called me back 30 minutes later.
He was offended.
He hung up on me, and he was like, he called me back. He was like, you know what? You're right. And so this is a great opportunity to really empower, again, the people in your circle to work and partner with you on what your pattern is. That's really good.
Yeah. And so, one way to interrupt, you can't interrupt the pattern that you have not yet acknowledged or that you're not yet aware of. And so that's very important work to do. So I want you to think about, go down the line of every person you have dated, every woman, every male that you have dated, man, woman that you've dated, and just really start thinking about what those patterns are. Do they have a certain spiritual belief? Do they believe anything at all? Are they tall? Are they short? Is there an age thing? Is there a political connection? Is there an education connection? Is there a regional connection where they live and what they've experienced? Is there a career connection where you only date people who have been in social service jobs, firefighter, police officers, things like that? And so again, when we think about those patterns, it really helps you to interrupt that if you're in this zone. And then lastly, Some of the things for us to be concerned about, well, to monitor, put it that way. So we have the pluses, the benefits, but these are potential barriers.
Yeah, and I do want to make this point. Directionless is not the right word because it's not that you're not going anywhere. It's that you don't know where you're going.
Right.
When you allow yourself to be open for whatever, again, it's like the wind. So if you're just blowing to and fro, you're going somewhere. You just don't know exactly where it is that you're going, and not sure even if you do want to go, if the direction you're going is going to get you there. So it is not directionless. It is more that you're not sure of exactly where you're going. So it's important to, again, monitor if you're in a season in your life where it's like, look, I thought I wanted to be married. I thought that I wanted this or that for my life. But right now, I want to be open for whatever. No, that may come with you being put in a position where you may end up someplace that you didn't intend to go. So you have to be very careful of that. And then lastly, you want to be careful that when you open yourself up for whatever, that you may potentially compromise your values and your principles. These things are the foundation of who you are. And so as you expose and open yourself up to various people from different backgrounds with different experiences, you're going to have to make the decision of what things are you going to continue to stand on and what things are you willing to be flexible on and really begin to grow or potentially change in some ways that may alter the foundation of everything you've come to know.
Yeah, that word compromise is for years it was said, oh, the key to a successful relationship is to compromise. No, no, no. We're going to encourage you not to compromise ever your morals and your values, because at that point, that is the death of self. And your value, that is your foundation. And so essentially, if you're compromising your values and your principles, we've all been there, okay? Guilty. We've all been there. But then you get to a place where you don't like yourself. And now you can't show up being your best self if now you're insecure. And so you're insecure. You don't like the individual you're looking at in the mirror. And so now you cannot have the best relationship because you're not even showing up as your best. So no, we don't compromise our values and our principles. That is the foundation that we stand on. And to have a healthy relationship, you need to show up healthy. And so, yes, we want to make sure that open to whatever means to adventure, exploring, right? Being open-minded, okay? That is that open to whatever, but not necessarily open to flexing, bending, and compromising your values. That is not what down for whatever means.
Yeah, that is a dangerous place to be in. So listen, hopefully you all have enjoyed this. I've learned a lot from this. And so we're going to continue on with our dating after divorce and breakup with part 4 of the series next week. Be sure to reach out to us at couplesacademy.com. Book us for a session. We would love to speak with you about your individual and collective path. And once again, be sure to check us out on the Couples Academy Network for the Phoenix Awards Gala on Saturday, October the 7th. We will be there. And it's going to be a good time. And so join us in Alpharetta, Georgia on the first weekend in October. And we look forward to seeing you all there. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
We're your Couples Academy practitioners, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night.